So good morning, good Woch. I've got 3 points that I hope to be able to go through today. There is the first one that last week we spoke about, 2 weeks ago. We spoke about the 30 Midrash Torah Nidreshes, and the last one was Shnik Sumar Kishim Zeh Everybody knows it because when we don't come to the last post, the last thing that you have to say before the Kaddish the Rabbanon.
If you want to pretend you said Kavunus.
Yeah. It's like with this you the Kavunus. Nobody knows whether you said it or not. Yeah, exactly. But is this one of the Yud Gimel Midas Hatoli precious or not? Doesn't seem like it. But, we'll see a little bit, and then we'll also ask the question, and we'll try to give another answer to the question. Does it an Emesh Yaakov? That Yaakov is Emesh. All the pastures, everything that Yaakov did was everything besides Emesh. So how can you explain Fit and Emesh Yaakov and Yaakov to associate Yaakov with Emesh?
I don't think the explanation on Shabbos.
That he has
everything for the greater good.
For the greater good, yeah. But it's a bit strange that think he has to be the one that is. So they explain that it's the one that has it. And then I would like to explain it another way, and this is going to be the basis of the whole shir, is that he says Vayoicha Omesh. There is a word which is used in the Posuk, in the Chumash, in the Tanakh, for yesterday or yesternight actually, is Emesh, and it's only used in six times in the whole Tanakh. It's not highly used. Emesh, yeah, it's used I think 6 times. And check the Shabbos and the Laudatio. And I wanted to say because it says here that Yesh le'el yodi la'ases imochem ra ve'elokei avichem Emesh omar elai leimor shomer lecho medaber in Yaakov mitoiv ad rov. And last night Hashem said to me, shomer lecho medaber in Yaakov mitoiv ra. And then a few psukim later, Yaakov Avinu says to Lavan, Lule elokei ovi elokei Avrom upachad Yitzchak hoyoli. So he says here Yaakov said to Lavan, look, I don't have anything, so I didn't take anything. Everything that I have is from my own toil that I've worked on it, and this Hashem saw. And Vayoicha Homesh, and he already told you off. So Vayoicha Homesh is Rashi. Vayoicha is a Loshen Teichocher, Veloy Loshen Hoichocher. So you have 2 ways of learning Vayoicha. Either you can learn Teichocher, I have to rebuke in English. Rebuke is to tell you off what you're doing. And this is what Rashi explains. Vayoicha Homesh is last night already, Vayoicha Holof, you were already rebuked for that. So leave me alone, basically. Or it can mean Loshen Hoichocher. It can also mean that Vayoicha Homesh, that in Omesh it was decided who is right and who is wrong. Hoichocher is as a decision. So you are Mochiach, or you have 2 people arguing. And so there is an Hoichocher who is the right and who is the wrong. So Rashi explains explicitly that it means a Hoichocher, because otherwise, what does it have to do with Omesh last night? How can it be last night? There was an Hoichocher last night. So Elomai, it means a Toichocher. It means by Yoichach Omesh, you were rebuked already last night, because that's what he says. Emesh Omar Elai, Hashem told me last night. So you see here, Hashem told you last night. Vayoichach Omesh, he refers back to what happened with Lavan last night. So I would like to, this word Vayoichach Omesh, I would like to elaborate a little bit more in a bit of the kabbala and a bit of the philosophy, and based on that we'll understand a little bit more, maybe a different understanding, completely different understanding of the word Titan Emes Yaakov. What does it mean? I hope I'll be able to come there. I already gave a few times this shir, and I will just repeat it, and that's why I hope it goes a little bit quicker. But otherwise, if I'm going too quick, you let me know. You just lift up your hands, and I will go over it. It's a bit. We saw Yud Gimel Midrash Torah Nidreshes last week, and there are actually also, Rabbi Yosef Aglili says there are Lamed Beis Midrash Torah Nidreshes. Lamed Beis is 32. Now I'm not going to give you today a shir of 32. because
Riboy and Neo.
there's a lot more in the
There's a lot of basic ones, not according to Rabbi Shmuel. They are extra ones.
Oh, so there are some who say they are extra ones, or there are others who say they are only valid for agadatis. So they are only for, not for halachic.
Okay.
The halachic ones is Yud Gimel Midrash from Rabbi Shmuel, and the agadatis you need to answer it's gematrias and Rosh Tevas. These are not, you cannot use a gematria for an halacha, although we do, yeah, because we use how does it go, the Shloshim Yom for Nozir, because it says forgot the Loshen. We learn certain things we do learn from gematrias. But in Rabbi Yosef Agino, when he explains there are 32, he also speaks about 32 nesivois. And he refers to nesivois is a word that is used in Sefer Yetzirah. So there are 32, like the 13 midas Satoid and Precious is related to the 13 midas of Rachamim from Hashem. They are related to each other. There are Svorim that try to associate each one of them. And so there are also 32 midas that are related to the 32 nesivois. And nesivois are ways. And the explanation is that there are 10 numbers and 22 oisios, 22 letters in the alphabet and 10 numbers.
Isn't 10 also an arbitrary number in
Sorry?
Isn't 10 a number in...
So apparently not, because we have 10 fingers. So apparently nature shows 10 as we see 10 fingers in most animals that are also 10 fingers, I don't know. But in any case, we humans, we have 10 fingers. It's a good question. Is the world great? You can ask once a physical philosopher if the number 10 comes back a lot in physics.
10, 100,
Yeah. We count as
base
a 10,
10,
but the question is this base 10, is it a human decision or is it a divine, there is a divine intervention to choose 10? The numbers, they represent, as I explained to you, the numbers. There is an Ein Sof. The Ein Sof is oneness. Is a oneness that we cannot even comprehend. It's not number one. It's the oneness, and then suddenly from the oneness comes the multitude, and the numbers represents this multitude, represents the quantity, and the letters represents the quality. Yeah. So with words you can define the difference between my cup and the chumash, but numbers there are two. Yeah. So there are two. They are the same. 1 + 1 is 2. But the words, it's with the cup makes it a cup, and the book makes it a book. So the letters reflect the quality, the what it is. It's the more the kamus and the echus, what is described. In those 22 letters, there are 3 kinds of letters. So it's been split in 3 kinds. You have the letters which are kefulos. Kefulos means that they have dogesh sometimes. So sometimes you can put the dogesh and then they become from soft, they become hard. So they are from soft to hard. Hard to soft is by the dot that we put. The dot is a modern, it's something modern. In the Middle Ages, they used to, when they wrote, they used to put a line over the letter to say that it's a hofer. The dogesh itself is something that came later in the printers, or I don't know when, that they put a dogesh. There was a line that they put on top of the letter to show that it was not the tof but the sof. Yeah, if it's a soft, it's soft and tof. And so you have
I'm not talking about the hay at the end, which has got the.
No.
Base.
Yeah. Base, vase, kof, etc. Yeah, and there are 7 kfulos. So there are 7 letters that are kfulos. There is one of them is interesting because the reish is also kfulos. We don't have a difference between a reish and a gimel also. In the what? No, so apparently originally the reish, there was 2 kinds of reish. One was strong, the hard one, maybe like the Flemish, they do the r, it's more harder, and the r is softer. Yeah, so you have the difference between the French and the Flemish.
But not the r from the English.
For English, so that's already exaggeratedly soft. Yeah, so there's no sound at all. Yeah. But this is the Reish and the Gimel. By the Gimel, there is a difference by the Yemenit, they make a J, and also there is a difference between with a dogesh and without a dogesh. We don't have this difference anymore. It's very in Kabbalah. It's a lot in this.
And the Vuf as well, no?
No, it's not part of the list of kvulos. Also not Shin and Sin is not part.
How do you get it?
It's,
Base, Gimel.
Well, 1 second. Kvulos, Base, Gimel, Dalet. Also Dalet also, for some reason. And then you have Chof, Pei, Reish, Tov. But Dalet also. The Gimel and the Dalet and the Reish are for us difficult, but they are dogish, and you can find them in the good Chumoshim. You will find something in Dalet which is dogish. Yeah, sometimes it's dogish. It doesn't make for us a difference in pronunciation, but there is a dogish theoretically, and therefore they have to print it. So maybe by them so it's a ger between a ger and a der. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I think he explains it also here. I have got here a version of Meir Kaplan who actually brings on a lot of difference. But the Reish, I don't think nobody today makes a difference. These are the kvulos, and then you have the 12 pshutos, which are the letters which are poshut, and then you have 3 imois as a mothers. So imois is for mothers, and these are the letters aleph, mem, shin. These are the fundamental letters of the aleph base, called the mothers of the aleph base. So you see what's very interesting is that you see here the 7 which comes back. The number 7 is a lot in Kabbalah. It's time, always related to time, to completion of time. 7 days, 7 weeks, 7 years, 7 times 7 years. Always related to time. Then you have the pshutos, which are the normal, but they are 12. And 12 also comes back a lot. You have 12 months, 12 shvotim. Yeah. 12 is a word which is a number which comes back a lot in the Torah. And then you have the 3. 3 also comes back a lot, which probably where the Christians took the revealed head is the 3, which is the Keser Chochma and Keser Chochma and Bino is the 3 which we have to believe is 1. It's the 3 that becomes a oneness. And these are the 3 imois we see again. So you see again always the numbers which Kabbalah has taken over, it comes from this 7, 12, 3, which together make 2206. So what are the mothers? So the mothers, theoretically, how they explain this, that Aleph is the first letter of the alphabet, Mem is the middle letter, and Shin is the last letter of the alphabet. So you're going to ask me, Aleph and Mem I understand, but Shin is not the last letter. It's one before the last letter. So they explain, the Poshet explanation, what he explains is that the Tov is part of the Kvulos. So they chose the Shin. So the Shin is the last of the Pshutos that are not Kvulos. And they are the mothers, mothers of the letters. Now,
what's the significance of being as a mother of the letter?
Oh, so the mothers of the letters is this is now Ari Porush trying to give to you a bit of a summary the way I understand it. So there is possibly 70% of this explanation and 30% is a bit personal. Okay, so it's a bit like my own trying to rationalize and to be able to rationalize a little bit what has been said here. First of all, just for your information, the Aleph represents the Avir, the air, the wind. The Shin represents the Eish, the fire, and Mem represents Mayim, is the water. So this is that everything starts off from the 3 fundamental composed elements. So we have the air, the fire, and water, which was at the time the fundaments. The earth, but there's not earth here. Also, ash doesn't start with things. Oh, so there, nobody asked that question. But first of all, there are 2 answers. First of all, the first answer is that we today a word has to have 3 letters, the shoyrish, and the time of this is new also. The time of before we believe that the language is also 1 letter. One letter. Shoyrish of Eish is Shin. That's what we would answer. Another thing is that the Shin and the Kabbalah a combination of letters is more important than the order. So there is no order in Kabbalah. You see the Kabbalah, they can, like the Gemara says something. Al tikre, like that. So they change the letters. Changing of letters in order is not a problem in Kabbalah, as long as the letters are in the same word, that they are together. So I'm not going to, but there is, you want to make a goylem one day, you want to do that, you will, sorry, I can give you here, it explains you how to do it, and then you will see how we combine letters. And the combination is not, it's not doubled. So it's like Aleph, you have to pronounce Ab, you have to be like a whole day just pronouncing letters, combination of letters. But the letters are not, there are, once you have one combination, you don't do the same combination the other way around because it's not relevant. There are, it explains there are Reish Lamed Aleph She'orim, which are Reish Lamed Aleph combinations of letters, Aleph with Beis, Aleph with Gimel, Aleph with Aleph. There are 231 combinations possible, which is Israel. Reish Lamed Aleph is Israel. Roel, Reish Lamed Aleph comes back a lot in Kabbalah, the Reish Lamed Aleph She'orim, which are the possibilities of combining two letters together. And therefore you divide by 2, which is like 12 times, 22 times 21 divided by 2, because the combinations, the order is not important. So when Aleph Beis Aleph is the same. In Kabbalah, you don't see really they mix the same concepts. So it's important to remember, because it means also important is that when you see a word that has the same letters, then it means that etymologically they have the same shoresh. They have to mean the same, because in Kabbalah there is no difference. So it forces you to think, hey, there must be how do you say? There must be a similarity, similarity between those two words. Famous that the Kabbalah brings on is the noiga, the nega, and the oineg. Oineg is pleasure, and nega is the opposite. Sometimes the opposites also, because they represent the same of just different directions, but it's the same concept. So very interesting. You can when you see sometimes a word and you think, hey, that's strange. It's the same word, but just the letters are different. Then you try to intellectually find what is the connection between those two. So what is the Aleph Mem Shin? So there are two ways of seeing it in Kabbalah. The one is the top to bottom part of the Rebbeinu. In other words, the idea is that Rebbeinu, when we are talking to the Rebbeinu, when the Rebbeinu created the world, it's always like human beings. It always starts with a thought. We have a thought about something. We translate the thought into a concept. The concept becomes a saying. We say it, and then it becomes a realization. Okay, so it's like always our thinking is always a process, is an idea that becomes a concept. The concept, we are pronouncing the concept, and therefore, when it's pronounced, it becomes real in real life. That's I think that the only thing that you cannot conceptualize is music. I think the only thing that we humans can appreciate music but we cannot conceptualize. We can write down the notes, but what it makes, the feeling that we have from music, the understanding of music is something which I believe cannot be conceptualized. You cannot describe it in words. You can only, it remains as a concept. It stops there. That's
true for all arts.
Possibly as art, maybe.
Paintings
also. You cannot describe what you're feeling when you see modern painting.
Actually, music is one of the science for the Yiddish guy. So it means it's not something. It's something you can actually define if it's good or not.
Yeah, if it's good or not,
science.
but it's not. There is very little. You cannot describe a feeling. You can describe an idea. You can try to first. You have an idea, then you conceptually picture it, and then you describe it with words, and then you realize it. So the same idea here as well is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How does he create the world? He creates the world by thinking. So the thought is already, it has a thought. Then he kind of makes it to a concept. Then the concept becomes a word or a saying, and then it becomes a reality. that concept exists in Kabbalah. This is the pre-Arizal. The Arizal already created the other concept, which is Atzilus, Beria, Yetzira, and Asiyah. So he creates worlds. But there is before Arizal, I believe that this is the explanation of the Shin, which is the thought, and then the Avir, which is the concept, and the Mayim, which is already the realization. That's why Avir is the Ruach, it's the Ruchnius, and Mayim is the Geshem, the Gashmius. Yeah? Water is Geshem, Avir is the Ruach, this is the Ruchnius, that's already conceptual. So it starts with a thought, an idea, becomes a concept, and then Weinstein pronounces it, and from the pronunciation it becomes what we call a reality. What is interesting is that Rav Sherki, there's only one Rav Sherki that my brother, sein Gesinnt, he mentioned with me. He called me up once and he said he heard a very interesting thing from Rav Sherki, explaining that the Beis Hamikdash HaShlishi, Rashi holds that it's going to be from fire, it will come down. The famous Rashi, it will come down, fire. And the question is, what does it mean here? Fire, so what Rav Sherki, he explained that it means that the concept of the Beis Hamikdash HaShlishi exists already in the higher world. It's not yet realized, so it's going to come down. And how we understand it very nice, because Eish is on the top. So when you look at the Kabbalistics, is the Eish, the Shin is on the top, then Aleph in the middle, and Mem is at the bottom. So Eish is the thought. The thought, the idea, exists already as a fire. Fire represents the thought, the idea. And then it still has to become Avir and Mayim, meaning that it has to become the Ruchnis, has to become a concept and a word, which is the mind, which is the realization. So it's going to come down, meaning that it's going to become always more and more real. So they have the starting is a concept, and then as you go down, it becomes more tangible. Ouais.
Il y a peut-être pas de relation directe entre le Taïsif et le
Ah,
c'est un nouveau concept.
C'est un nouveau concept.
Ça, je ne sais pas si.
Ouais. Non, je ne sais pas. Pourquoi pas? Ouais. Tout sera différent.
Non, parce que non, c'est un problème. Dans le Dame, on en parle de revenir.
Ah, qu'on va pas revenir des corbonos, c'est tout ça, comme rapport. Ouais, je comprends. Ouais.
Le concept qui peut naître.
Ouais, c'est plutôt un concept. Ça restera inclus dans quelque chose de conceptuel ici. OK. But this is the Emesh. So the Emesh represents the realization of an idea. There is a big machlokes between Plato and Aristo. Have you heard of the machlokes between Plato and Aristo? Between idealism and realism. It's exactly what I just described to you. It's very famous. It's the fundamental difference between Plato, which points up the ideal, the concept of a table is a concept. There is a concept of table. This is the real table. The real table is in your idea, is in your thought. And this is just an example that is as close as possible to the concept of the table. But it's not a real table. It's not the table that I'm thinking. I'm thinking of the table is a real table. And this is, it's something which resembles a table, it feels like a table, it tastes like a table, it must be a table, but it's not the real table that I was thinking, because on my thought I have a table so the real table is in the world of transcendence, is in the Ruchnius. And Aristotle says, no, the opposite. It starts with real tables, this is a real table, and then what you can do eventually, you can think of the concept of table. But this is the table, this is a table, and then if you want, you can try to define a concept that englobes all the tables of the world to become a table. The reason why I'm bringing that down is because there's a famous Mishnah. The Mishnah said, "Noider min aboso." Somebody was noider from the boso. The question is when you are noider from haboso, from the meat, and you cook the meat with an egg, are you allowed to eat the egg? It's a good child. So you're noider min aboso. You say haboso, noider. You are saying, I'm not going to eat meat, the meat. And then I take a meat, not the meat. I take a meat, I cook it with an egg, and then the shaila is the egg osur or not? No, the boso for sure not. It's a noider min aboso. That's nobody holds that you can eat a boso. that the question is it? So the question is how they explain it. What, sorry?
Basically, not allowed to eat any meat for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Somebody says, I'm no dominaboso. Somebody said, no, don't want to eat it. He's a vegetarian. He wants to enforce it.
As long as not the kohen, I believe it will be hard.
It will be, yeah. No, but even if there's a coin, a nether is chal. Yeah, nether is chal.
Because we can't keep it. He
Yeah,
has to eat
no,
meat.
nether is chal. Shvur not a nether yet. So he has to be shoel. It's to go through the kocham to mate, but the nether is chal. Yeah, even against the nether is chal against the mitzvah. Shvur no. What's the difference between shvur? Because shvur is gavra, nether is hefz. But the main question here is what is the machlokes? What is the thought? What is the idea behind it? It's the same concept. When I say noidum in aboso, I mean to assert the meat, the concept meat, and that means that this piece of meat is taka meat, but the what's called the egg is not meat, and I only assert the concept meat. But if I say no, the real, when I say the concept meat, like Plato or like Aristo, the concept meat means that at that moment all the meats of the world became also on me. Then because the concept is not real, but it is the real meat is real, and therefore when I made all the meats become also on me. I meant all the meat in the world, and well, they become a heftze from the. It's not the isur gadol, it's a isur heftze. All the meat become also, and if all the meats are becoming also, if I cook it with an egg, the isur, the tam of the isur go into the egg, and therefore I'm not allowed to eat the egg. That's what the Mishnah says. So the Mishnah says, "Is anoidem na bosor, it's mutter to eat the egg, but anoidem mi bosor zeh, then it's also." So you see, I think personally, this is machlokes there is purely machlokes between Plato and Aristo. It's 100% the same between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Tarfon, but you can look it up there in the Gemara. It's not exactly. It doesn't fit exactly because the Mishnah is difficult to understand because we don't know if there's a machlokes or not. Yes.
You see this, I saw that in more beginning of the page. I will find it back. It's when we put some noise on the sukkah, right stuff. And he said that the haluchos, if you go there in the sukkah and you consider it as a noise, the sukkah is kosher. You can sleep, but if you consider it as to protect from stuff falling from the, then it's not kosher anymore. It's considered as a, and that's a pure concept.
That's a concept.
If you consider it as a concept, as something to protect you, it's easier. Otherwise, it's enough.
It's very nice, very nice. So you're saying the same concept, the same idea.
That's exactly what you're also in Shabbos.
Exactly. But there you don't have machlokes. Here you have a machlokes.
No, that's what I'm saying. Everybody agrees with that.
Everybody agrees with that concept. Yeah. Correct. Very nice. But in any case, you understand the idea here that it's that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, his thinking and his dibur, sometimes when the Tehillim uses the thinking, the thought of Hashem creates, and sometimes it's the dibur, Dvar Hashem Shumayim Nasu, the Dvar Hashem, it's Basur Mamorim, Hashem says, and that's the idea of the Mayim, when it becomes Gashmus. Yeah, very nice, because Avir, what is Avir? Avir is Ruach. Ruach is Be'etzem, is energy, yeah, it's the movement, it's energy, kinetic energy, and Mayim is molecules, and there is a connection between those two, which is Einstein. Energy is equal to mc squared, which makes that there is a connection between the material, the Mayim, and the Ruach, which is the energy, which is the movement, the Ruchnius. So that the Hashem thinks, becomes energy, and then from energy becomes a reality, which is in this world the reality, material, the Gashmis. So that's one way of seeing Aleph Mem Shin. There's another way of seeing Aleph Mem Shin, is not vertically but horizontally. So it's mefurish in the Sefer Yetzirah, where he describes the Aleph Mem Shin. So he says Esrim Shtayim Oisius Yisod Sholosh Imois Sheva Kfulois Shtayim Meto Shutois. Then he says, Sholosh Imois Aleph Mem Shin, Yesoidam Kaf Chus Kaf Hoivo, Loshon Chok Machia Benitayim. So you have like a balance. Yeah? So you have the right and the left, and this is what they explain. This is the Midat Torah, Midat Din. So they make from the Rebbeinu Shalom not only a vertical line, but also an horizontal line. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu has also not only from top to the bottom, the higher you are, the more you are in the idea, and the lower you are, the closer you are to the reality, the inner which we can feel. That's the lowest, the Malchus. And but you also have the Rebbeinu Shalom has also a left and a right. So you also have two brains, so the left brain and the right brain. By the way, we also have, that's why one of them is the conceptual, the other one is more the concrete, the numbers. So there is the right and the left brain, and then you have the right and the left shoulders, and the right and the left hip. And this is one of them, one side is the middle of Rachman, the other side is the middle of Hadil. And then the Aleph is the one that Mahia Beneim. You see again, the concept of Mahia Beneim is very rarely used. It's used specifically in the Sefer. And Rabbi Shmuel uses it in his Bracha, because Rabbi Shmuel was a big Kabbalist, very big Kabbalist. And I believe that the last idea that he put in there, which is not the middle, which is what he means to say is the Greek idea of the thesis and the antithesis, and then the synthesis is what creates a new concept in the world. And so the Rebbeinu is continuously judging us, continuously making the more in Rosh Hashanah that Rebbeinu every moment he is judging. So it is continuously weighing the kaput and the kapoiver, and then he has to judge what he's going to do. And that is also our role. Our role is continuously creating new concepts. And that's why the whole Gemara, the Bereshit started off with questions and answers. Every Dvar Torah always starts with a question. There's no Dvar Torah in the world that doesn't start with a question. Otherwise, there's no Dvar Torah, right? They ask a question, sometimes it's a stupid question, or sometimes it's a question that you ask because you have an answer, right? So you have already an answer, and then you just ask a question, but it always starts with a question. The question is the contradicting between the two concepts, which is the thesis and the antithesis, and then together, what Heidegger, Hegel says that there is the synthesis that creates, which is the building that the Talmidei Chachamim are doing. They're creating new concepts. I have a very very nice. Yeah, but it's normally thin. Yeah, thin. C'est pas Y, it's thin. Yeah, maybe there is like kabbala, there is no difference. And once it sounds the same, it's the same. I have a very good friend in Spain called Fernando Tiatebes. He wrote a book, Love for Marketing, and he helps in how can you be innovative in your business in a structured way. He says that what you have to do is you have to put two concepts in your brain. You have to put in front of you two concepts which are contradicting, and then you say, how is it possible? It can't be like a bike on water that rides on water, and bikes are not supposed to be riding on water. And then you picture yourself, and suddenly your brain capable of picturing something new. These motorbikes that fly over the water, yeah, very dangerous. Or pedalos, yeah. That's already safer. Yeah. But it helps you in creating. So his idea is he used to do workshops where people were putting, okay, what is your business? This, okay, diamonds are expensive. Okay, so let's change and let's make opposite. Diamonds are cheap. What happens here? You understand what I'm saying? So you put realities and then you change the words to the opposite. And it puts you into it's not true, diamonds are expensive. No, diamonds are cheap. What does it? And it forces you to be creative, because we are creative beings. We are judging. This is the whole idea of the thesis and the antithesis. This is everything what we humans are, which is also HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what we have in Elohim, that we have this capacity to create. The idea and the creation comes from, and this is what Aristotle is the basic of Aristotle, is saying that when you have a theory in your brain, when you have a conception in your brain, and then you see the reality is not what you expect to be, it creates there is a challenge here. I expect something to happen and it didn't happen. This creates a tension, which is the basis of creativity. New theories. That's how they found out a lot of. How did they find out that light is not material? When they let light go through two little stages, and then they spread out in multitude of there were like lines, more than 2 lines. You did not expect that. So when you have an idea and you're expecting 2 lines, and suddenly you see that the 2 lines on the back is actually 4 lines, that means that something is wrong. And then you have to start thinking of light as wave and not as material. On the other hand, so therefore you have the photon, what Einstein created the idea of photon. But that's because what we expect is not the same. And this is the whole idea continuously. This is what it's not the middle, it's the basics of everything that you deduct. Everything that you deduct from the Torah is, you can only deduct if there's a stira. Yeah, there's a stira between the psukim, there's a problem, there's a missing word, you were expecting a word and you don't have the word, and now you're stuck. What do? Then you have the midrash attorney pressure that helps you in the continuation. But you have to have a stira or you have to have a tension. If there is no tension, there is no limit. The tension is created by a machlokas between 2 people, or a stira between what I said today and what I said 2 shiurim before, and that creates a tension. And this tension gives an idea. How can it be possibly this? And you start answering answers. This is the yesh loimar of Tosfos. When you loimar, yesh loimar, yesh loimar, it's created in Tosfos in his brain new creative answers. It's yesh loimar. It's not the real answer. Yes, yesh loimar means the boy. If you want, you can. It's not a reality. It's just a thought. It's triggered in Tosfos and the Gemara, a new thinking, a new building. That's what I always explain to you. That Talmidei Chacham in Marvin Kulam Boiler, that they are boy noyer. I'll take a boy noyer and boy noyer. They are builders because they build new continuously. And this is the difference. I always say, I know, repeat it. Dayan is the opposite. Dayan is not the builder. He destroys. He's not. He's
and he cuts them down.
He cuts them down to 1. He reduces to the amount of use. While the Talmidei Chacham, he accepts 2 different, and he not only he accepts them, he explains both, and he creates a 3rd one that explains that both are true. You understand? That both are true, which is actually that both are true. Like in my example from 2 weeks ago, that there's a 7 o'clock minyan and there is an 8 o'clock minyan. That's in good weather. It's 7 o'clock minyan. But that's a new concept which exists. So they create new concept that you can further on building and using it. The yesh loimar of Tosfos is a new concept that you can take a yesh loimar of Tosfos and start building a whole 50 books for him that are built just on this one yesh loimar. It's only yesh loimar. It's a theoretical answer Tosfos gave. It doesn't say this is the truth. Yesh loimar. If you want, you can say Ibo is saying, but no, for us we build further. That's why Chachomim, the Torah will never stop, because you can always build and continue and building further. That's the beauty of the Torah and beauty of the human beings, of the capacity to be creative in concept. And that is the idea of the Emesh. The Emesh is the weighing down the thesis and the antithesis and the allosis and the synthesis, the machia that is between those two. So you have this is a horizontal split of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the Emesh represents the vertical split of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and also the horizontal split of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, both of them. So this is the Emesh. Now in Kabbalah it goes a bit further, and the Kabbalah says that the Emesh is also the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu before the Bria. I already also spoke about that. And so therefore what they want to say is they want to read Rashi. So Rashi says, you send me off empty-handed, as only that and Hashem saw my suffering and my toil by Yoichach Omesh. And that normally it means, and then it suddenly goes back to what Lovan told him. Yoichach Omesh, remember, he rebuked you. But no, it can also mean Hashem saw my suffering by Yoichach Omesh, and Hashem will judge you, will be the judge. The Yoichach as Hoichocha, and not as a Toichocha. So Hashem, Omesh is the name of Hashem, and so it refers to the name of Hashem as being who is going to Vayoicha Omesh, which makes no sense in the Pasuk. When you're reading it, it makes no sense. Once you know it, you cannot read it differently. Yeah. Once you know that Emesh is the name of Hashem, then Vayoicha Omesh makes sense. Veloki avichem Emesh Omar Elai. You, the God of your parents, Emesh, his name is Emesh, Omar Elai, he told me, Leimor Yishom Melecho. You understand? It makes sense in the reading in the text. It makes a lot of sense in to read it that way. So Emesh is the name of Hashem, and we already explained that Hashem, when he created the world, he always created the world with letters, and every time he added a new letter, until he came to the letter Tov. So originally the previous name was Emesh, and then suddenly came the new letter, which is the Tov. And when this Tov came, that's when the world, as we know it today, was created with a letter with 22 letters, not 21. And as I explained you already a few times, that when Shais was born, and we don't know what happened there, but when Shais was born, so they started to call the name of Hashem in the names of the people. And then the question is, what happened? What is this Shais? What happened to Shais? And so they explained. So I saw one explanation that this is the Shin Tov. So when they saw that the human beings are capable of being balanced, of being able to do Doko Mishpot, that they have the capacity. They saw it at the generation of Shais. At that call, they called him the Shais, meaning Shin Tov. And therefore, from that moment onwards, we could start giving the name of Hashem to humans, because we saw that there is a potential, that humans have the capacity in Maisim to do both Dokomi. But the real one that came to that realization is Yankov. Yankov is called Ish Tom. He's the one that actually became, as in its essence, became complete, because it's called, the Abraham was good in Chesed, Yitzchak was good in Gevurah, in Din, and Yankov inherited, he managed to change himself to become complete. His completion was seen as being both a royal soil, so he was a thinker, he was a Yosef Oil, he was learning Torah, but also a fighter. He learned how to fight, to become strong physically, and also to learn strategically how to fight and not negotiate. It is only, like I always explained, only after he fought with a star from Esau that Hashem gave him the name Yisrael, because he mutated. Right? Remember, he had a mutation to become a completeness. So Yaakov became complete, and it is only when Yaakov became complete that the name of Hashem, the Emesh, became Emesh. That the name of Hashem became Emesh. So basically, it was completed. That's why the Chazal say that the Choisem, what does it say? The Choisem, the Emes Choisem Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the Emes is the Choisem, the stamp, but it can also mean Choisem as being the end. Yeah, like the end of the. So it's like the last one. So the last name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Emes. It doesn't have to change and add another letter to the name, and this is thanks to Yaakov Avinu. That's why also Yaakov Avinu, his face, or his faith of Yaakov Avinu, is carved in the Kippur Shel Malchus. It says that the tzura from Yaakov Avinu is part of the Kippur from the Roin Shloilo. Why? Because he's the one that is the first one, and the last one maybe even, to be the most complete person. So he encompasses this idea, the ideal human being, that can be both a royaton and also a loichem, a fighter. And this is the whole idea that of the person that is complete. No, he also needs the harrowing. He doesn't need the harrowing. Yeah, yeah, that's exactly that. You always see that those two elements that come together, Doko, Mishpot, Chesed, Emes. You have these concepts which are one contradicting the other, and the ideal world is that ideally would be that one person should encompass it all, but this never happened. So only Yaakov Avinu and David HaMelech. David HaMelech eventually, but he wasn't doing. That was a way of time. But we have here again, with Amelech, maybe he's the one, that's why maybe everything from David. So we have everything start from Yaakov and everything from David. Maybe because David was also kind of a bit field, had managed to encompass both. But Edomi, which is like Esau. He had the Esau in him and the Yaakov in him. Maybe. That's for me, it explains me the central role of David HaMelech in Judaism. And Yaakov Avinu, which is basically carved in the Kisei Shel Kodesh Baruch Hu. I mean, to understand it even, it says, "Rosso Shel Yaakov Hakuko B'Kisei HaKoved." What Yaakov? No, because Yaakov is the first human being that not only did Chesed and Tzedakah and Mishpat, but also managed to change himself into that it becomes natural. He managed to change himself. And that's why he's the first one to be able to be Hokuk in the. And also he is the one that gave the name Kakodesh Baruch Hu. And that's why he says, Titin Emet Yaakov, it attributes the Emet to Yaakov. Not as the Emet as the word truth, as in English, but Emet as the name from Hashem as Emet, which is, you have to understand why Emet. The name of Hashem is finalized as Emet, not anymore as Emesh. It is at Yaakov. That's why by Yaakov we still use the two expressions Emet. And afterwards in the Torah it's not used anymore, only in the Novi and
Just one point regarding Yaakov. If there is one observer who is not who hides and
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why in the beginning. Yeah.
I mean, he tried to yeah, he was coached by
Exactly. That's why.
He carrying the name of
Emes. That's what I'm saying. So it's not Emes as the word truth, but Emes you have to put the truth off. It's Aleph Mem Tov. He's the one that gave to Hashem finally that we can say the name of Hashem is Emes. That his final name of Hashem is Emes.
Okay. My question is
Aleph Mem Tov.
How we can make those things, knowing that by definition Emes means
truth.
But Yaakov, I'm pushing. No, I'm not pushing, but I will just display. Is the definition of someone that's not not part of
that's what I said. Or you look in the story, is everything but in Yaakov. He's father, and then and the whole story is not Emet. So they give answers. What did they answer in
said that for the great good. He started off with a life among fathers disabled for Shidduch and Tikkun.
Yeah.
And he said, and he came out of the answer, yes, but we see by Yankov, he was called Emet, and he still took 3 people.
Okay, so you see that we're using a concept
for the greater good.
For the greater good. We're using a Kabbalistic dangerous stuff. Okay, I'm not. Sorry?
It's like Lavan. We say for the white, but for the black.
Yeah.
That's why I think that's
so that's why.
Father and a mother. What?
No, he also tricked with the sheep. And the first one is a mother. What do you mean?
No, first brother.
You tricked
then his father by framing his faces.
In any case, for me, I prefer to give it a more Kabbalistic explanation because anyway, it is a Kabbalistic explanation. Tikkun Emes Yaakov represents Emes, collective word of Emes. So personally, I believe it's more the Aleph Mem Shin that becomes an Aleph Tov. Because the last letter of the Aleph base was Shin at the Toyu Goyu. It only became a Tov after the Toyu Goyu. So therefore, it was the last letter. But I don't need the answer from him to explain. Yeah, because of course it's Kulo in 7. So right, Kulo is well. Yeah. But it is like Emes. Chois Moshe Hashem. Hashem of Hashem is Solomon Emes. Emesh is in Postrat yesterday. Yesterday. Yeah.
For Emesh.
Before. That's why the Emesh is back yesterday means the past. It's not anymore. It's a name that as the base. It's the basis. The Kabbalah. It's the basis to the Yud Kei Vov, the Yahoo, which I explained the Eliyahu, and which is one of the names of Hashem. By the Nanuim, we do the 6 directions is the Yud Kei Vov, which for some reasons is we are allowed to say it and we're allowed to erase it. I don't know why. It's the basic name of Hashem, which is used we don't find it anywhere in the Tanakh. There's never used in the Tanakh, but it's the basis Aleph. There is, I think, the Aleph is the Yud, and there is the realization of that name Emesh to the name of Hashem that we see. But
comment rentrer dans l'état des actes? Comment un acte?
Oh, it's a very good, because it's a concept. It's a concept, truth is a concept. The idea of truth and metzius, reality, there is, I know that Manitou is very busy with that in philosophical concepts of truth and metziut and existence, the difference between existence, between reality and truth. And you can play around with these concepts and you can work it through. I've not thought about that. I mean, I have thought about it, but I did not come to something concrete. You have a definition of what is Emesh? How would you define it?
C'est sûr que nous on peut comprendre très primaire.
Ouais. C'est l'inverse de sheker.
Peut-être plus une synthèse entre toutes les valeurs, la synthèse entre toutes les valeurs positives et le MS. Parce que sinon, on se trouve dans un monde impossible.
Mais je crois que notre vision, our primitive view of MS is the opposite of sheker. So what is sheker? Opposite of, but I think that is a wrong. It's not the opposite of sheker. MS is much more than that. There must be more than just sheker. Sheker is maybe a bilbul, and the MS is structure. Is seder. I see it more like that. The sheker is darkness, and MS is light. It's clearness, but not the truth as opposite of. But you can make a philosophy. You can philosophy what is truth. Maybe it's a good exercise for you guys this week. What does it mean truth?
What first? It's different. It's
honestly
different between the Jews and the other two religions. Truth is something that doesn't change. It's true. It's always true.
Yeah.
Before and after. But when you know something is true, it's because it's not changing. It's true always. If it's changed, it's not objective. It's subjective. With subjectivity, it changes. Subjectivity.
Oh, it's an interesting concept.
But objectivity doesn't. That's why, for instance, Christians, we say also this question we can have, or with a Muslim, why we think we're right is because the Torah is Emet. What does it mean Emet? Whatever generation, whatever the time, it's true.
It has to be nitzvah. Emes has to be nitzvah.
Yeah. So if it changes, it means it's not true.
Monsieur Fin, dans la terre même, tu vois qu'il y a des changements.
Non.
Non. Faut terminer ma phrase. Il y a marqué que les Bomoïs, dans le temps d'Avram Avinu, étaient retrouvés, et plus tard, étaient sourds. Alors, comment t'expliques ton histoire?
Non, mais de toute façon, le Nitziut is a machloket between the Rambam and the Sefer Ikrim and Rav Elbaz. Rav Elbaz holds, the Rambam holds that the Torah is Nitzvah, and the Ikrim asks, why not? Hashem, if he wants, he can change the Torah. Hashem can give us a new Torah. It's up to his will.
But no,
he doesn't see a problem. Why not? He says, look, the Bnei Noach had only 7 mitzvahs, and we got 613. So there is a change in the Torah. There was a new Torah.
No,
we got it.
It was the Torah. It's not the Torah. It's when it's given to the Bnei Noach. Then the
So you're answering what the Rambam would have answered, but I'm just saying that there is a possible fault. That's why he asked. He agrees with the Nitzvah of the Torah, but he says that somebody believes that the Torah can change, does not mean it is an apikoros. Because why not? Hashem can change.
That's what we call Christianity or Islam. That's another concept.
Yeah.
By fact, You somehow.
But the Rabbanim needs to change it. It's not that you get talking about it.
It's
It's 39.
No, it's a subjectivity of the Torah.
There is
a
a
way you will apply the Torah.
There is a safer attributed to Rabbi Akiva, and there it says that when Mashiach will come, we will see the Bris Chadosho. And Bris Chadosho is a word which we sound. So there are a lot of. I mean, I believe I agree with you that this is how we have to. Otherwise, you can't live a normal life. But to define Emes, because say that it's not going to change, and use this as the Torah as an example, which is true because Torah Emes is the Torah. And all the Meforshim agree with that. That Emes, Chesed Emes is Chesed is the human Chesed, and Emes is Torah. But to say that it doesn't change, I don't know. They cannot be new truths.
No. 1 plus 1 is 2, whatever the time, whatever the concept.
Yeah, okay. It's one possibility. The question is this a definition of Emes, or is it just an attribute of Emes? What you just give me is an attribute of Emes. That whatever it is, Emes is forever. But the definition of Emes needs things which are ever. Okay.
Maybe it's personal.
If you think about it, if you have a better way of maybe ChatGPT can give us a little bit more of what I saw now just before I left. I saw from this French rabbi who had a vikuach with ChatGPT on la libre arbitre, on free will. Unbelievable, interesting, unbelievable. I have to see it. It's a French rabbi. I think it's a few days ago. It was uploaded. Came to huh? Yeah. I think Torah box. It's unbelievable. He had a whole discussion and a very interesting discussion about the chat itself, the artificial intelligence. Will they have a conscience and etc. And what will happen and how does he define very interesting. I really enjoyed it. I would have gone in different directions than this role, but in any way the idea was innovative, which I enjoyed. So basically, we saw that is a fundament of also from the Greek philosophy, which based on the fact that HaKadosh Baruch himself is continuously judging us, and is continuously having two forces which are opposing each other. We're making our ways, making mitzvah. How does the Bunch deal with that? That is the continuous creation, and this is what we have to do as a creative and innovative human beings. We have to put two opposite ideas, and then it will give us the opportunity to create new concepts. The Emes Yankov is, I explained you differently. It's not truth as the common definition of truth, but Emes means the name of Hashem that went from Emesh to Emes, and that's the idea that's attributed to Yankov. It is through his capacity to balance Mishpat and Tzedakah into one person, and he managed to change himself, which later on never existed anymore. You always needed two brothers, Yosef and Yehuda, and then you continuously needed, and maybe David HaMelech, which was capable again. So we have maybe always two, then Yaakov one, and then it split up in two, and then it went down, and then one again by David, and then it split up again after Shlomo, again between Yosef and Yehuda. So
when the kingdoms.
Just after Shlomo, yeah, when the kingdom split again, it was Yosef and Yehuda, because those two cannot, it's difficult to work together. Either you are Mishpat or you are Docker, and it's difficult to have them both into one. But when Shem said that we are capable, we didn't show it a lot, but we have the potential. Somehow we have to be capable of keeping those two together. And then I explained that the Vayoychach Omesh of this week's parsha, which Rashi says it is a Toichoch and not Shenochoch, the Mekubolim say no, it is a Mochoch. Vayoychach Omesh, Hashem is the one that is going to be Mochiach, who was Mochiach between you and me. It's a Machriach that Hashem as the Emesh. Emesh is the name of Hashem from the previous one, and it is after Yaakov Avinu that maybe we can say that it was Emes that became the name of Hashem, that he is the one that introduced it, and maybe also David HaMelech, as it says also Adoini. It's important to remember, David HaMelech was an Adoini, he was a red, so he's a fighter. On the other hand, it says he's a Roy Tzayin. He was somebody who meditated and thought and loved and
Film is full of meditation.
Meditation. So he's very, very strong, although he was an Edomi and knew how to fight. He was he knew to the Goliath. So he showed this capacity of both, which is unique, which did not happen later on. So the most perfected human being is the one that has both characteristics of a fighter, and he knows how to lead a military and economy and all the rest, and also somebody that knows Torah and Ruchnius and feeling, and somebody who has those both together. This is the perfected human being. And if we cannot have it in one, at least you have to have two people that are working together. These Tochos Volum that have to work together in order to advance. Maybe we take a to the Gula Shleimu B'Meiro V'Yomeinu.